In this lecture, we will conclude our mini-series on enforcement of the EU AI Act. We will start by discussing the individual rights under the Act. We will then look at fines for AI systems and GPAI models. And we will conclude by defining what competent means. That word comes up quite frequently, especially alongside authority. So, for example, what is a competent authority? So under the EU AI Act, individual rights are provided to natural and legal persons, for example, downstream providers. And those rights include being able to file a complaint with a market surveillance authority, as well as an explanation of output decision-making. An exception to the right to an explanation is when AI is used as a safety component in critical infrastructure. The EU AI Act does not provide specific remedies. Instead, individuals rely on other regulations, such as the GDPR and liability laws, which we have discussed. Concerning fines for AI systems, and I think regarding enforcement, of these two enforcement lectures, if there were only a couple bullet points that you had to commit to memory, it would be these fines. Not only the 3 different tiers, but the numbers associated with these tiers as well. For prohibited systems, the fine is up to 35 million euros or 7% of global annual turnover, whichever is higher. And for those that have not seen the word turnover in this context before, it just means revenue. So 7% of global annual revenue. For the other tiers of systems, so for high risk, limited, and minimal, and again, I'm using the tier category provided by the IAPP, the fine is 15 million euros or 3% of global annual turnover. And again, this is whichever is higher. And the final category of fine applies to provision of misleading information. And this is 7.5 million euros or 1% of global annual turnover. Concerning GPAI models, fines are 15 million euros or 3% of global annual turnover. And reasons why a fine would be issued to GPAI models include AI Act infringement, failure to comply with a request, for example, for a document, information, or corrective action, the provision of inaccurate or incomplete information, or the failure to provide access to a model for evaluation. And finally, to end this lecture, I just want to briefly define what competent means. This is an entity that has the legal authority or jurisdiction to make decisions and enforce laws within a specified area of responsibility. A competent authority is empowered to make decisions regarding AI systems, enforce relevant regulations, and perform their designated oversight functions. In this lecture, we went primarily over individual rights and fines. Individual rights under the EU AI Act include being able to file a complaint with an MSA, explanation of an output decision-making. One exception to that is when AI is used as a safety component in critical infrastructure. Remember that the EU AI Act does not provide specific remedies. Instead, individuals rely on other regulations, such as the GDPR and liability laws. For AI systems, there are 3 categories of fines, one for prohibited systems, one for the other non-prohibited systems, and one for providing misleading information. You should commit these numbers to memory. The other group of fines concerns GPAI models, and those fines are either 15 million euros or 3% of global annual turnover.